Switch gears. It's off-season times. We're going to talk a little Mariners baseball throughout the off-season and whatever else we can come up with. He's back, Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times, and he looks happy. It's all brought to you by Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, proudly serving the community since 1941, located in Tacoma's historic Proctor District. Chalet Bowl has been family-owned and operated for 40 years, delivering top-notch customer service and a unique 12-lane experience. Visit them at chaletbowl.com. You look happy.
Yeah, something like that. So
yeah. How's the off season going?
It's been okay. It's unseasonably warm in Havre, Montana, so that part's been good. I think it was supposed to be 78, 80, 79 degrees today. I golfed on Tuesday with my mom, 9 holes, didn't lose to her. It was a dogfight the last 3 holes. I was going to have to press and then, do some shit talking to get in her head. But, I managed to pull one out, and my 3rd round of the year I played. And so
your mom's a pretty good golfer, huh?
No, I'm terrible. I mean, it's really, and this is like,
it's more of a,
this is so typical of like how I play. So like, first hole, lose a ball into the river, jack it around the green a bit, whatever, playing in the trees, hit another one out on the 3rd hole. But like, the thing is like, then I get to par 3, I nuke one over, the trees save me from nuking it over. Like I don't have my distances very well with different elevation and the wind. But then like I get to this par 5, which is one of the longest holes on the course, one of the toughest, hit a drive, hit 4-iron to the front of the green, chip up, miss my 2-putt, or miss my birdie putt that's only 18 feet, skim it by, take a 6. The short par 5, I'm on in 2 and 3 jack. So yeah, that's how I play. I'm just a zoo.
You sound just like one of us, sir.
Yeah. I mean, like I played a little bit in high school, and I wasn't good. I just did it for something to do, and then we got the free membership at the course if you played in high school. And then, baseball player, so I can hit it pretty far, but I just don't play enough, and I don't practice. Like I don't work around the greens or anything like that. I'm a disaster. I have no touch.
In golf or just in life in general?
Pretty much life, but I'm like I have like Jacob Eason, Jake Locker touch around the greens, which means I'm just cooking them over or flubbing them, So
we're going to get in the Mariners off season and all that, but boy, you got to be, as a baseball fan, you got to be enjoying this divisional round. It's been the best. It's probably the best divisional round we've ever had. It was the first time in the 30 plus years, right, since 95, when the division round started, that all of the series were tied at 1 game apiece, and they've been great. They've just been great series so far with great drama. Even
the games that weren't close, like, there was a couple games that weren't that close or nail biters. There was drama anyways, the back and forth between the Padres and Dodgers. And like, people like to say that the Mariners and Astros have a rivalry and don't like each other. No, the Padres and Dodgers, there's genuine hate there. I mean, like if there wasn't suspensions, if this was the regular season, guys would be getting hit left and right, and I mean, like Manny brings a lot of it on himself, but it adds to it, like you can just tell those guys are up there just trying to destroy the other team, like, embarrass them. And that's been an outstanding series to watch. And just, yeah, they've all been great. Like, it's funny. I've watched a lot of playoff baseball in my life. I've only covered, I think 4 or 5 games of playoff baseball, but I've watched a lot of it on TV, and I love watching it. Obviously, I enjoy the hell out of it because, I don't have the pressure of writing, but too, it's great. Like, it's just different. Every pitch, like you're just hanging on every pitch. Like the other night, you're thinking they're done. You're thinking the Phillies are done. And then all of a sudden, walk, bloop, boom, bomb, like it changes everything.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I just think the drama between the Padres and the Dodgers is just great. I mean, everything from just the Manny Machado allegedly throwing the ball at Dave Roberts to the fans throwing stuff on the field, the fact that they're so close to each other, hour and a half, 2 hours away, just all of it. And that the Padres want to get through the Dodgers. They're the team that's standing in front of them. The Dodgers spend all this money on payroll, and we'll get into that because money doesn't mean everything when it comes to sports and come to baseball. But it's just great. I like the fact that they hate each other. They genuinely do not like each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's just flat dislike. I mean, like, and you can see the personalities why. Manny's got a dislikable quality to him. I think that, like, you remember he had all those issues with the Red Sox when he was playing for the Orioles. Then remember when he was with the Dodgers and he stepped on the guy's foot, I think, during the playoffs. Was it the Nationals or somebody like that? He had issues when he was playing the Dodgers. He's that guy. He's kind of that guy. And then, you throw in Tatis, who a lot of players don't like because of the PEDs, but then he's good and he likes to put on the show. The Dodgers, like Max Muncy is yelling at everybody to get off the lawn. He's kind of like the old Brian McCann, old school guy. It's just it's a good vibe. I mean, like you said, it's close by. I mean, one thing is you go to Dodger Stadium, you're probably getting the shit beat out of you. So, I'm loving these games. I mean, just watching them and stuff like that. It's been fun.
Hey, last time that we talked, we had not had heard from Mariners owner John Stanton. He does an interview with Mariners.com with Daniel Kramer on Friday, or at least it was released on Friday. What was your takeaway from reading that and the comments there made by John Stanton?
Well, I knew Daniel had told me, given me a heads up that he had talked to Stanton, and just said, hey, I talked to Stanton. I'm going to write a story on this. And this was like the Thursday or the Friday before the last homestand, I think, where he talked to him. So, I've been waiting for it. And I wasn't really surprised by anything by it. It's kind of what we'd heard from the Mariners and stuff. In terms of what they were saying, Stanton wasn't always saying it to us. He said some stuff to me and Adam, obviously, in June, I believe, but really, I wasn't surprised about anything because I don't think their thinking has changed on anything, on a lot of it, and he didn't really provide clarification on a lot of stuff either. Like he did confirm that DePoto's coming back, didn't tell us how long, and that kind of stuff. But like, it's like, well, we're really mad about the leaks. We think it's somebody, but we don't know. But we're pretty certain it's not. The leaks aren't like on the Scott Service stuff wasn't coming from us. But only a few people knew. Well, but if only a few people knew, then that kind of leaves some other avenues like the commissioner's office or whatever. But yeah, nothing was surprised. I mean, I know. I think in Daniel's case, I know he was stressing a little bit just in talking to him, just because of like the perception. And really, like when Adam and I had that story, anything we write about Jerry or John anymore, just the blowback comes at us, like that we don't say enough, we're not hard enough or whatever. I know you beat up Daniel pretty good. I can tell you that he doesn't have to send in his comment or his questions ahead of time. And I don't think I'm certain they don't read what he's going to write before that. But I mean, like, my guess is they prepared John for a few days before they did that interview about talking points about what was going to be asked. I mean, we know the talking points are what was going to be asked. It's not, they do that every year. So, they don't have to approve any of that. And I certainly don't think they have to look for the questions, but, I'm sure some of the PR guys were sitting in there monitoring what John was saying, in case there was something that was going to be bad, so that they're prepared for it. The worst thing for, I think, PR staff is when an owner or a team president does an interview that you're not aware of, or you don't have a heads up on that they're doing one. So then something comes out and you're caught off guard. I think the DePoto interview with Ken Rosenthal originally on the story before then might have caught some people at the Mariners off guard. but I'm not certain.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the Mariners handle interviews like that. Like when you guys sat down with John Stanton, you and Adam Jude, is there someone present in that interview with you guys?
Well, yeah,
monitoring it.
Well, I wouldn't say monitoring it, but they're in there. When we were there, it was Kevin Martinez, the new president of business operations. Congratulations to him. It's very well deserved. Nobody cares more about the Mariners than Kevin Martinez. I can tell you that. So when we did, Kevin Martinez was in there, and then Tim Heavley was in there, one of their top PR guys. Thing with Martinez being in there, the gist of our interview with Stanton at that time was largely over the TV issues and Root Sports. And Kevin at that time, and we didn't know that, had been basically taken over as the general manager overseeing a lot of Root Sports and kind of this season. So I think that's why he was in there. I don't think he was in there to monitor. I mean, they didn't have their lawyers or in there or anything like that. You know, I'm thinking it's not like on The Rainmaker when like they have the 5 suits and then it's Matt Damon by himself, you know? No, it wasn't quite like that.
Well, I bring that up just so we can let people like inside, like, you know, peel back the curtain a little bit. I mean, organizations do this.
Yeah.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you know, the Seahawks are famous for this. You know, when they bring, I always remember this, when they bring players in to do interviews, whether you're on a radio station, they usually have whoever's brought that person in there. You know, it's sometimes it's the main guy, or sometimes it's maybe an intern, whoever, but they're there listening to the interview. Just in case, I would assume just in case something is said that maybe they don't like. That's why I wanted to ask about it.
Yeah, when I was covering the Seahawks a little bit for when I was helping out the Seahawks at the News Tribune, and even later with the Times, like there's always, like even in the open locker room, if there's a scrum of reporters around, there's always a PR person kind of hanging around, whether it's Jeff Garza or is it Corey Kemp or Rich Gonzalez. I remember it was kind of funny is like Rich Gonzalez was standing next to Hoosh when we were talking to Hoosh Manzada. And while Hoosh Manzada couldn't play and it took him 11 seconds to run a route, he could really talk and he would say a lot of stuff. And I think, you know, we were talking to Hoosh, we'd been there for about 10 minutes and he was starting to get amped up a little bit. And Rich kind of did the Dave Pearson, is there anything else? And Hoosh snapped at him something like, I'll tell you when I'm done. You don't tell me when I was done, you know, like stuff like that. You know, and I mean, obviously, like whenever Earl talked or Doug talked, Sherm, even, you know, when Marshawn first got traded over there when he used to talk to the media, you're always going to have somebody around. So no, and I mean, like when we do the daily scrum with Service or Wilson before the game, there's a PR person there. There are a lot of times there's one recording the conversation so they can put it on the media hub that we have in case somebody missed it or get the better quality audio. So no, I didn't think anything of it. I mean, like Daniel's put in a difficult position, one, because he does work for MLB.com and they don't typically write a ton of stuff about ownership and stuff like that. And two, like, as I said, like whatever we write about these guys, I mean, like we could write about John Stanton donating a kidney to make a wish and somebody's going to come out and say, but he didn't increase the payroll. You know, how much is his kidney worth? I mean, like that's where we're at with the organization right now. And what's difficult, and I know you made mention of it, but when John Middleton gets up there and talks to the media and talks about goosebump moments and all this stuff for the city of Philadelphia, you know, and why he's invested as much as he has. I mean, that's such a hard dichotomy to what John says privately to us, you know, or not privately, but in individual interviews of us that we write, you know, I can see why it upsets fans.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, to wrap up the whole thing with PR people being there for it. I brought that up just so people understand that this is just commonplace with these sports teams, that they have people there. And again, and I get it. I mean, I would do the same thing because you want to know what's going on. As someone who is going to start a crisis firm, a PR crisis firm, you want to control the message. You want to be able, if you say something there, I need to know what was said and I need to be there right away. So then we can craft a response to it in case someone says something that doesn't align with the team.
Yeah.
And to address Daniel Kramer and Mariners.com. Listen, I go back to Friday's show and I listen back to it. I do have a regret of how I handled that. I have reached out to Daniel multiple times, and well, I don't know if he'll accept the apology or not. I'm going to get to it later in Hey, What the Puck. But I think I could have articulated better how I feel about him doing an interview with a team and league-run website. I think I could have done a better job of it. But my feelings don't change on it. And I think sometimes we get selective hearing a little bit. I agree. I think he and others that work in that business, and I think of this with Brad and Angie and Jen and Bill, it's hard when you work for a company or a league or a team. You can't actually, you're going to be censored in a way. It's just the nature of it. It's hard.
Yeah.
I thought we articulated that, but again, I know that sometimes that gets missed. But I think my level of disappointment in them, and I should have just pointed it at John Stanton. My level of disappointment is this. Because you and Adam are the only two people there that are truly independent. And that's a hard flag to have to carry for the entire media corps. Because you can't be the only ones that are sitting in there and taking all the arrows all the time. And what I didn't like, at least about Stanton, is if you're going to do something, then do it with everyone. Stand up there in front of everyone. Because, if Jerry Dipoto at the end of the season in that scrum in the dugout just did something with you, but no one else, I don't think that's fair.
No.
Like, if you're going to do something, do it with everyone.
Well, especially in the situation like an end of the season scrum or whatever. Like, yeah, if I call Jerry up and say, hey, I got a couple questions, can we do a short interview about this? And he says that, yeah, let's do it. That's based on my relationship with him or lack thereof at times. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But I get like, to me, I get where, like, I knew that we weren't probably going to get John Stanton at the end of the year. And I kind of understood it. And then when Daniel told us that he, gave us a heads up, hey, like I talked to Stanton, I'm going to have a story on this. I mean, I knew that he would do it very fair. Like he's down the middle. Like he may work for Mariners, but I mean, he's a pretty good journalist. Like if I ever quit, I would recommend him to do my job because he understands this. But I don't know that he'd want to do it. Yeah, I get why people are upset because like this was an awful season in a lot of ways and a lot of disappointment. And like I said, the climate around the team is probably lower than it's been in quite a while in the fan base. And, in those times of like, when it's this bad and in times of like discord, I think you have to come out and at least try and answer. I get that like it probably from a PR standpoint does them no good, but the simple fact that you came out and made the effort to take the questions and try to answer them, I haven't read any of Jim's stuff, but I'm sure like if Jim and I put together a screenplay of what that press conference would look like, and he could do the answers from the people he likes to write about, and I could simulate Softy and Levine and Chuck, Softies would be, and Chuck's would be, well, to get philosophical, and in one of the science fiction novels I wrote, and then Levine would have the camera on him, and then G Bell would be mumbling. But like
you are terrible.
But it's true. But it's like we all have our personality quirks and how we do stuff, and kind of what we believe our impetus or our function is in the media. As I told you last time, like mine isn't to put them on trial. Mine is to be able to provide information so fans can have their own opinion about it, or like strengthen or weaken their opinions, but one or the other.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, on some level, like for Softy or for somebody like that who lives in the culture of opinion and takes, then he should, that's perfectly fair. Like they should do the car wash. I was talking with Adam Jude last week, just wondering, I was like, do you think we'll get Stanton on the record again? Like if they make a signing, or if they say they announce a deal en route, are we going to get him in person? And I don't know. I mean, like, I don't really know where we're at with that right now. I was thinking about that with the PR person, though, because we always joke about it, because you and I live this phone call. Ryan, hello, this is Randy Adamek. Just want to talk to you about a few things you'd say. And I would be in, I remember I got in trouble with Howard Lincoln because I wrote that he had no concept of
Time out. Randy Adamek is a long time. He's since retired, long time
PR legend,
director of communications, PR for the Seattle Mariners, and on top of that, terrible golfer, great human being.
Yeah, and the press box is named after him. Like, he's one of the most.
The press box is named after him.
He's, he helped get the first All-Star game here. He helped get this last All-Star game here. He ran.
Correct.
Anyways, but he would say, Mr. Divish, I just want to clarify a few things you'd said on the radio with Puckett, and
I like how you do the Mr. Divish, because he always does that.
Yeah, he still does
the last name.
He still sees me all the time, and then the thing is like, I remember, like, I got in trouble with Howard Lincoln. I had just really taken over the Mariners full time, and I'd written that I compared Howard Lincoln to Montgomery Burns and Chuck Armstrong to Smithers. And I thought that's what got me in trouble, but he didn't recognize those. And so he was like, it was more that I said he was out of touch, the working collar fan. But I remember, like, doing this long interview with Howard. We do it every year. And they prep him, obviously, and he's a lawyer and he's really smart, but, I knew how to get him worked up. And then he'd kind of go off their talking points. And, Randy would he'd adjust his legs in the chair, and you'd hear this sigh, like that breath, when he knew that he said something like, oh yeah, that one's going to sting a bit. I'd always just kind of joke. I was like, I see him moving over there, thinking that's a good one. So you always knew when he was going off page, because those guys had tells. So I mean, like, that's the thing, is where we're at. And it's disappointing in this regard. This was, and I've said this before, this collection of baseball players was one of the most nice, the most friendly, the most accommodating, the most open. Like, Bryce Miller is laying on the couch like he's at a psychiatrist's office after every start, explaining every little detail about every pitch. Logan Gilbert has a good, dry sense of humor. Cal Raleigh's always been honest, stand up. Even like Haniger to the very end, like, if we had to ask him a question and he'd be like, well, I'm not really playing a lot, but like, if it was a bigger picture question, he would do it. They were available, they were accommodating. And here we are talking about all of this because they just couldn't get it right. And it's not necessarily on the fault of the players. They weren't given I don't think they were given the best roster possible this season to succeed.
Right. Well, and I think what makes it more frustrating, right? You're gonna see an elimination game today with the Padres hosting the Dodgers, and the Dodgers, who have an issue. I mean, for all the money they've spent, they don't have starting pitching.
Nope.
They've got none, to where they're going to start a bullpen today because they don't have anyone that can start for them in an elimination game. And then you look at the Tigers. The Tigers and the Guardians are going to play game 3 of a series in which it's tied at 1 game apiece. Who knows how the series is going to go? They've got one starting pitcher. One. The kid from Seattle U in Skubal. That's it. It was on the platter for them this year. Just on the platter to get in to the postseason, because I'm watching the postgame show on Fox last night, and when I get past the spray tan from Alex Rodriguez, I get past whatever David Ortiz is putting in his hair and that beard, and the best person on that panel, and the only one that should be talking, is Derek Jeter. And Derek Jeter gets up there and goes, you can get away without having starting pitching in the regular season, but when you get the playoffs, you better have it. And they had it. They had it in spades, and they just could not get in. And they would have been, obviously a major tough out had they got in. That's what makes it so frustrating.
So, like, yeah, you think about it. So say you whittle your rotation down to 4 guys. Let's say Castillo wasn't healthy, so whatever, then you have your 4. But like,
yeah,
if you didn't, then you're bringing in Bryce Miller or Brian Wu for a 3-inning stint, saying empty the tank. Do you remember what George Kirby was like when he pitched that 1 inning of relief against Toronto? He's pumping 100, right. you could have run things like they had leverage guys so that you didn't have to use Thornton and all these other guys. Hell, they could have brought up that Brandon Garcia who's throwing 95 from the left side and say, hey, we need 1 inning. There's 2 lefties coming up. Use you. Like this was it's set up, but it kind of goes back to the people have talked about it is they have such a great roster for the postseason, but they don't have they never put out on opening day. They never put out a roster that's good for the long term of the regular season because it's 2 different things. It's like, how did the Rangers win the World Series last year when they got exposed? Their bullpen was so bad last year in the final month. That's how the Mariners got back in it. But they got in. They moved a couple starters to the bullpen, and then they pitched Jose Leclerc until his arm fell off, and Josh Morris till their arm fell off, and then they were able to manipulate it because postseason baseball is different. And I think that's the problem. Like, so even if you don't get the miracle or the magnificence of this rotation this coming year, I mean, is it going to be enough in the regular season to get them through? Obviously, Texas will be better. They'll get healthier next year. Houston always seems to be good. I think the other 2 teams are crappy, but I mean, like, is that going to be enough to get them through the regular season to get them to the postseason? And you should probably start off with a team that you feel is better. And I thought this team was better, but it became pretty glaringly apparent by about May 1st that it wasn't going to be. So they had to add. But I don't know. Are they going to be good enough? And we don't know what they're going to do, but are they going to be good enough to win in the regular season to get them to the postseason? Yeah, we can always sit there and say nobody wants to play them in the postseason. We don't have to worry about it because they don't make it.
Who do you want to see? What's the baseball fan Ryan Divish want to see in the World Series? What's the best matchup for you?
I think in the prediction in the paper I had Philly and Houston, with Philly winning. And hat tip to old Shockey. I kind of like, there's nothing that gets him to sigh more than the Phillies. And I love their home stadium. Like, I love their home stadium and like how crazy it goes and stuff. I mean, Phillies and Padres would be entertaining, but I don't know that the Phillies are going to get out of it.
For the fans and the home environment, that would be the best one.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can't see, MLB is privately hoping, like, we don't want the Guardians or Detroit to get there because, like, you don't get no ratings on that. You want stars. I mean, I mean, like, I would, Yankees, Phillies would be cool. That would be really cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, Yankees, Phillies, I mean, really, I mean, if Rob Manfred could do it, snap his fingers, he'd take Yankees, Dodgers.
Or Yankees, Mets, Subway Series.
Yeah, or that as well. I mean, that's what you want. And I don't, I know some people, I don't like that kind of stuff. It's Sunday Night Baseball. They shove it down your throat. I think this with every sport, Divish, that I like the Mount Rushmores. I'm into it. I like it. It's appealing to me, to see the Yankees on that stage and that environment, Yankee Stadium, and all of it. That'd be pretty cool. And I do want to see Shohei, as a fan of baseball, I want to see Shohei Ohtani on the biggest stage. Yeah. I do. I want to see it. I don't think they're going to get it there because they don't have starting pitching, but I'd love to see it. Hell, throw him tonight. Can he throw?
They hinted that he might be able to pitch an inning or two. I mean, Mets brought back Kodai Senga, they hadn't pitched him all year, and then they pitched him down in Florida to hide him, so no scouts could go watch him and like get a look and see what he is. But no, I mean, like, I get, like, people don't love the blue bloods of it all, the Yankees, the Phillies, the original stuff like that, the Dodgers. But to me, it's still, I think, just the games themselves. I have friends that they like baseball and they'll watch it if it's on, but they watch the postseason baseball and they don't have a team in the fight. It's just who they want to watch.
Right. Well, we'll see it. We're going to be doing this all throughout the offseason. We'll talk Mariners baseball. We'll talk other stuff with Divish Show, brought to you by Chalet Bowl. His Grizzlies got Northern Arizona this week on a hotbed kickoff, 1 o'clock in Missoula. Can I get a line on these Big Sky games? Where can I find a line on this? Grizz 4-2 taking on Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks.
The Grizzlies defense might be the worst I've ever seen in Montana football. In my years of watching Montana football, which dated back to 1991, when they'd have to score 55 points a game to have a chance. Take the over. I mean, Montana can't stop anybody. They can't.
Okay.
Like, they lost a bunch of players to like CFL, NFL last year, and it's it's like watching Kelly Jennings, and who was the accountant they brought off the street that one year when Ken Hamlin and
I don't know, the accountant. I don't remember
or
the
it was
accountant that
I
they
don't know,
brought off the
some
street.
white guy hunting guide, and they were like
Some white hunting guy,
yeah.
a defensive back.
Yeah, I think he was a defensive back.
They exist
from like a strong safety. Yeah, it's
okay.
Like, I mean, this is like the very end when Marcus Trufant was like 107 years old out trying to run around. This is what's like watching. So it was rough. Montana, it pains me to watch them play.
Yeah. Jim had real strong feelings about Jed Fish wearing a visor on the sideline. Where do you stand with guys and visors? You a visor guy?
I don't even like him on the golf course, but yeah, I mean, like, and Jed Fish is like the old guy wearing he gives off a lot of Phil Mickelson vibes too,
Oh, there's a lot of Mickelson
just
vibes.
Kind of like, look, I tweeted this. The single best look is Jake Dickert wearing the WSU baseball hat, the true baseball hat that he gets from the WSU. Yeah. He wears he puts bend in the bill, pulls it down, wears it. It's a fitted hat. He's not Schottenheimer. Schottenheimer, I think, is sponsored by, or not Schottenheimer, but Shanahan, sponsored by
Shanahan.
He's sponsored by Travis Matthew, I think. So no, that's the best look. The best look is the old school baseball hat, like the true baseball hat, new era or whatever it is, or else, going with the suit and tie and no hat. But like, these guys, I mean, like, there's a lot of dad hats out there. Like DeBoer wears that one that doesn't fit him right. Fish has got Fish is, well, I mean, if Fish is trying to go to Florida, you got to wear the visor because you got to channel Spurrier.
Here's the thing about, you're right. That's why you wear it. Here's the thing about Fish, right? I think he'd be real fun to party with. Doesn't he give off that vibe? Because you talk about Mickelson. Like, he must be real fun. Sit back, have a cocktail, probably betting on games with him, sitting back at you play 9 holes, a little whiskey 9 with Fish, and then it's back to the bar and we're telling stories that you can't repeat, jokes you can't repeat, drinking in the late night. I think Jed Fish and I would be great friends.
I mean, you're wearing the visor all the time like that. You're a gin and tonic guy, just pounding like Tanquerays and tonic out on the course when
hammering
it's
them.
Yeah, I mean, like
hammering them.
Yeah, I was telling somebody this. My buddy was in town visiting, but like, it's been hard for me to, and like, I'm a degenerate gambler like you and Jim, and so I still have action, but like, I'm not into this college football season maybe as much as I thought, even with the better matchups and stuff like that, because like I'm so used to the Pac-12 schedule, when is Oregon, Washington, when is USC, Oregon, like all that. I mean, I covered that league for a year and a half, 2 years. And then even like, because of like the Big Ten and stuff, like, I'm sorry, but like UCLA and Penn State just doesn't excite me. And
USC, Minnesota last week. It's just they've ruined the sport. They've just absolutely ruined it.
I mean, like, I know you're very excited about the Cougs going to the Grove and playing Ole Miss. I mean, like,
I cannot wait.
Pray for your liver.
You don't even understand. And you know who I'm reaching out to right away.
Oh God!
I should probably I'm going to tweet at him right now. He's my love affair, my man
Lane
crush,
Kiffin?
right? No, Wright Thompson.
Oh, right. Well, you guys do look a lot alike. Holy cow! You just need to smoke some cigarettes and gargle with some asphalt. But
I want to find a bar with him early, that morning, and just drinking bourbon at 8:30 in the morning, getting ready for the game. I can't wait for that game next year. It could be the end of me.
So you're going then, huh?
Oh, for sure. No, there's no way I'm missing that game.
How do you get to Oxford?
I don't know. Where do you fly into? What's the closest town in Mississippi? You fly into Mississippi, you fly into Atlanta. Memphis? Fly to Memphis and then drive?
Maybe Alaska. I'm sure Alaska's got a flight somewhere close by. It might be one of the two-seaters, but
Come on down. Come on. You can come on down with us. It'll be great. You'll love it too. I think everybody will.
I've been to an SEC game. I covered LSU. I covered UW at LSU, and it was one of the coolest experiences. Yeah. Everybody's got to go to an SEC football game. You got to go.
Yeah, I went to when we played the first time we played Auburn, Cougs. I went. It's great. Nothing else like it. All right. Next week we'll talk more off-season stuff. We'll get into maybe some players. Who do they add? Who do they subtract? How do they improve the team? Ryan Divish with us every week, every Wednesday, Offseason Divish, all brought to you by Chalet Bowl. Visit the website, chaletbowl.com, to book your next reservation. Experience the best in local fun. In case you missed it, there it is. I can't even see the T-shirt. Whiskey is a Montana all day.
Whiskey and Montana all day.
I love it. Whiskey and Montana all day long.
Almost like this. She's good, man.
Well, that is a great mom. In case you missed it, this will be up on YouTube later, Puck Sports. Also, you can check it out on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast, and, of course, pucksports.com.